I mean, I don't think that giving a law enforcement officer 10 days to get their story together, to gather information, to gather facts is transparent.
If he committed a crime, he could sit back and say, I'm not saying anything.
But the officer has the same right because he has a Fifth Amendment right. And if he says no, he then can say, hey, I want a lawyer.
Just like this citizen. But the difference is, this citizen is not going to walk out. If you think you have probable cause, he's not going to walk out this police station. The officer is. Well, that's the difference. Now, the thing about it is that's an extremely broad stroke again, because you're talking about all cases where an officer may have been accused of something.
So I'm a retired homicide detective. You can't run games around me.
Law enforcement officers' Bill of Rights in this state protects officers when they fail to protect us, creating barriers to gaining access to information, prohibiting interrogation. Even if somebody's blood has been painted on the pavement, the officer caught red-handed cannot be demanded to make a statement for 10 whole days. God created the heavens and the earth in less.
There is no problem that the LEOBR works, has worked, continues to work, and we feel remiss to be here today.
I was a bit taken aback by your initial comment. I don't know what the problem is exactly, but it's very clear, I think, to virtually everybody, there is a problem.
I've heard very clearly from my constituents. They feel that officers are playing by a different set of rules.
We know that we can't honestly have community policing if we don't have community members have an ability to be engaged in the process at every level.
You know, I think a lot of the conversation has been around community police relations. And I think this framework is a problematic framework in thinking about what the issue is, because we're not talking about community police relations. We're talking about the ability for civilians to work collaboratively on an equal playing field in the industry of law enforcement. And citizens have a right to be able to have substantive say in the nature of how law enforcement is administered in their community.
We don't need that. We're opposed to citizens judging police officers on the basis of misconduct. Understanding the law is not the issue. It's understanding the job.
Shot it up.
Melvin Russell is the first and only cop I have ever trusted. He asked me if I could do anything to help him with the murder rate. I'm like, I can't do the police job for him, but what I can do is keep the people who haven't done anything out of the line of fire.
Okay, got it. Don't mind moving. All right, cool. Here, take it with you. Just don't worry about it. Just put it in your pocket, son.
If I can get the police to lay off on my boys, all of them, and get these dudes to put their guns down, the murder rate goes down, more jobs are created, a lot of things happen.
So good afternoon, family. Let me just say this. I am very excited about this component of what we do in Community Collaboration Division, right? And that is being a bridge between the ex-offender and the jobs that are out there. And so our next stop is in West Baltimore, and we're going to set up shop in that same town, Winchester, Gilmore community.
One city.
One purpose.
One city.
One purpose.
One city.
One purpose. We started a job program around the neighborhood of convicted felons, at-risk youth, gang affiliated, just got out of jail, all that. Okay, if you're trying to plug dudes back in, or whoever you see in the program that's interested in going, remember, felons, mostly the felons, people trying to get some work.
5 of those.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. Contrary popular belief, man, like I get off of work at 4 o'clock, me and the brother be out doing this till like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night sometimes on a daily basis.
We do this on a daily.
A lot of people think this is my actual job, so.
This is not a game. This is not for anybody to try another system and still have one foot out there and one foot in here. This is for those that are serious.
You're going to be trained at something that most people have to go to school 5 and 6 years for. Because nobody outside of us believes in us.
Decisive not guilty verdict in the high-profile trial of Officer Edward Nero. Tonight, Officer Nero is a free man after a judge cleared him of all charges in the arrest and subsequent death of Freddie Gray.
The judge wouldn't even convict him on misdemeanor charges. And I thought that though he's not going to convict them anyway because he's one of them.
There are a lot of people here on the streets that are quite upset with this acquittal, quite upset that as of now, nobody has been punished for the death of Freddie Gray.
Motherfuckers gonna gather around here because a man was found not guilty, man. Get the fuck out of here, man.
There's a whole city full of fucking shit going on right now, y'all on this corner. Right. Somebody getting killed, because somebody's gonna get, because that's where the news at. Ain't shit happening over here. There's nothing happening here. As long as y'all here in this capacity, you're bringing the wrong kind of attention. That's my job. You're welcome.
It's a simple no justice, no peace. No police. No justice, no peace. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose city? Our city. Whose city? Our city. Whose street? Our street.
The protest makes an impact in the community, but I feel like there's no concrete strategy attached to it. Like, the visual is there. People are being engaged in a political process, but that political process isn't being used to anything greater than just this people standing on a corner.
Like, this type of environment is what, like lets a lot of people know that that's not right. Because people just numb to it. So they don't.
No, it does something. I'm just saying it's not the most productive option. This protest is gonna happen, it's gonna disperse, and that's gonna be it.
The work is so hard because a lot of people expect all of these organizers to be the heroes and the leaders who are going to lead us out of this, right? And it's like, we need to be shutting that narrative down as well, because it's like, that whole leadership complex is both really troubling for the person who is told that they need to be the leader, but it's also troubling for the community because it places all of the responsibility on one person when it needs to be a collective effort. Activism as a young person has just been so draining for me. And so just like my whole being needs healing. And I just need a break, really.
I've been thinking that I want to take a gap year after I graduate. Period.
No.
No. Well, that's the end of the meeting. You have been so busy that you can't even get it together. I think what our concern is, one gap year may end up being 10 gap years.
I feel a bit conflicted because it's not what I had planned for you, but more importantly, it's not what I thought you had planned for you.
Right.
The gap year can be productive or can be destructive depending on how you utilize your time. Because if you're going to utilize your time doing everything for everybody but Michaela.
But like, I'm going to make my checkpoints known to the people in this room. And so part of this meeting is like me asking that you all serve as like the people who won't be accountable to that.
If you feel honest within yourself that you're taking this year off to actually do stuff to get better within yourself, then I'm all for it.
You're gonna do what you want to do anyway, so God bless you. I knew you had skills when you called the police on him up.
She was about 2 or 3. I went downstairs and she was upstairs watching television. And the phone rang and I answered it. And I said, hello. They said, did someone call 911? I said, no. So I went upstairs. I said, did you use the phone? She said, yes, ma'am. I said, who did you call? She said, you said if someone hurt me to call 911. She said, you hurt me when you were combing my hair, so I called. 3 years old, I should have known they would be held to pay raising this girl. No justice is justice. No justice, no peace. So I called.
It's weird, you know, this is my first trial. Wish that my family was like more supportive.
So I contacted the ACLU because I didn't have the money to pay for my own private attorney this time.
Not a good judge to go for. Which is why I like started freaking out, came outside and smoked a cigarette.
The entire time we had this trial,
No group paid my bills. No group paid my bail funds. No group helped me out. No activist group.
All right, wish me luck. Good luck.
So you guys heard the verdict. Judge found our client, Mr. Roseborough, not guilty of 3 counts and guilty of 1 count. We totally disagree with the court's decision that he's guilty of anything.
Well, the trial for one of the 6 officers involved in the arrest of Freddie Gray starts today in Baltimore.
Officer Cesar Goodson faces second-degree depraved heart murder charges and several others.
It's hard to feel like a woman in this job sometimes. Especially trying to be beautiful at all. You try to take your emotions out of the case, but it's impossible. I'm always nervous going into a trial. Testimony is one of the most stressful times in your career because everything at that point falls on you. I don't want you to be worried about what other people are going to say, what other people are going to think. You know, I'm going to be your mom forever, and what people out there think doesn't even matter. You know? Just feeling anxious about going in there. And it's such a huge moment for everyone. You know, I've gotten death threats and people have threatened to hurt my kids. As a lead detective in the case, my job was to go back over everything as a homicide investigator with a fine-tooth comb. And I guess that's why I felt so gut-wrenchingly, torn when the charges were brought, because I know every detail of the case. It was a freak accident. I've been trying to pull up on my phone. I can't get it. The thing is not coming up.
Towards the 30 juveniles along Brad Street, towards Subway.
Anything? No, I missed it. Oh, damn it. Come on. I'll be on it.
Not guilty at all.
We continue to follow breaking news of the trial of Officer Cesar Goodson, where he was just acquitted on 7 charges.
Yes. One of 6 officers charged in connection with the arrest.
Thank God.
It's the signal up here because mine not working right now. The one
Could people have been more vigilant in the transport and everything? Definitely. Could people have been paying more attention? Definitely. But as far as across the country, police brutality and stuff, this wasn't the case. Just look at all of this bullshit. In facts.
The judge, who is within his right, has made it clear that he doesn't agree with the state's theory of the case and does not believe that any of the actions or inactions of these officers rise to the level of criminality.
We do not believe that Freddie Gray killed himself.
However, after much thought and prayer, it has become clear to me that without being able to work with an independent investigatory agency from the very start,
without real substantive reforms to the current criminal justice system, we could try this case 100 times and cases just like it,
and we would still end up with the same result. Accordingly,
I've decided not to proceed on the cases against Officer Garrett, Sergeant Alicia White, or to relitigate the case against William Porter.
We have no business in this place. It is time to leave. It is time to leave and take all of our beautiful creations with us. It is time to sue these motherfuckers for the appropriation of everything cool, from fucking cornrows to rap music. Fuck it. Every form of popular music on planet Earth was built by us, so sue their ass for it. Get the money and get the fuck out of here. Take the light bulbs with you, because we did that too. And the traffic light, we did that too. And peanut butter and roll. This shit is either gonna turn really, 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 really bad, really fast, or it's going to be hundreds of years of the same, and either way, I fucking refuse.
The Justice Department has released a scathing report on the Baltimore Police Department, which found routine discrimination towards African Americans, rampant use of excessive force, all without proper accountability for misconduct.
Representatives from the Department of Justice are here and they are listening. If you haven't read the report, you must read the report. Why? Because I've read a few of these, and this is pretty much the worst I've ever read.
One gentleman, over 50 years old, African American, we stopped more than 30 times during the 5-year period that we looked at. That makes us very